guys, it's Elle. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a forced proximity romance recommendation for you. And I saw that Jess from Peace Love Books recently did some forced proximity romance recs. And I was like, wow, I've been reading a ton of forced proximity romances lately. So I wanted to hop on her trend, and I have just been reading so many great forced proximity romances lately. And the first book I'm going to talk about is Love Life Farms by B.K. Borison. So our heroine, she owns a Christmas tree farm, and she is kind of dealing with a lot right now with the farm. She needs some money, and she enters in this influencer contest where she could win like $100,000. But the catch is she said that she owned the farm with her boyfriend, which she does not have a boyfriend. And so she enlists her best friend, Luca, to be her fake boyfriend. And so this one is absolutely hilarious. I loved like the small town aspect of this one. It's just super cute and like quintessential small town, and just like autumn and all of the cozy vibes. And the town has been watching their friendship for years, and it's just so ecstatic that they are finally giving in to a romance between them, and it is just absolutely adorable. So they have to really play it up in front of this influencer and pretend to be in a relationship, and the lines start blurring. And this one is just so cute if you want a really cute, like, small town forced proximity romance. They have to be around each other all the time, and they start catching feelings for each other, but they've been friends for years. I would pick this one up. It is so good. The next romance I have is Five Brothers by Penelope Douglas. I recently read this, and I really enjoyed it. So the heroine, this romance really plays into like the stereotypes of like the other side of the tracks, and that's not necessarily my favorite, but it kind of worked in this one. So the heroine is from the wealthier side of this small town, and she kind of started a thing with one of the brothers. There are five brothers, and they are all related to one of the heroines from Tri-Six Venom, and they live on the other side of town, which is considered like the poor side and just not as developed, and whatever. And so she starts hanging around one of the brothers, and then she kind of just gets brought into the fold of this family. And so she's just constantly around them. She starts working at this local diner in the area because she needed help with her car, and one of the brothers was like helping her with that. And so one night when she's like hanging around the house, because she's kind of friends with all of them a little bit, she has sex with one of the brothers, but she doesn't know who it is. And so she kind of has to figure that out. And it's just kind of like, I don't want to give too much away because it is kind of a why choose romance, but also not. And she gets with all of the brothers at one point. But this one is just really good. It's very spicy. She's constantly around all of these guys, and she is in these situations where she has to stay at the house some nights. And like, it's just like hard to describe this book. So just know it's like spicy, forbidden. There's different heroes. There's lots of plots happening, and I really enjoyed this one. If you want a taboo romance, I would pick this one up. The next romance I want to talk about is Over Caledonia by Samantha Young. This is a marriage of convenience with a lot of angst and pining for 10 plus years. So the heroine and the hero meet years ago in a bar, and she hits on him, and they kind of have a little bit of a moment. But he was like, no, like, I can't do this with you. You're too young, whatever. And now it is years later, and she's coming back to Scotland to visit her sister, but she finds out that if she leaves Scotland and doesn't come back, she will lose like citizenship in Scotland. Like, she won't be able to visit again. So she ends up proposing to the hero to go into a fake marriage that she's also very wealthy, and she will give him will give him money for, he owns like a farm, and in exchange for, she will get citizenship, I think is how it works. And so they end up having to go into this fake marriage, and she has to stay at the farm. It's forced proximity, tons of angst because they've been pining after each other for years. He is older than her, and There is definitely an effort moment in this one. Like, they just go for it, and it is so good. I absolutely love this romance. I love like the angstiness of them tiptoeing around each other, having these feelings for each other, but just not going for it. But then they do, and it is amazing. I love this romance so much. It's actually one of my favorites of the year, so definitely pick it up. The next romance I want to talk about is The Outpost by Devney Perry. This one is a very unique plot. So the heroine, she is actually dating this mafia guy. He is in the mafia, and she is an undercover journalist and trying to get a story, and he finds out what she is trying to do, and he basically almost beats her to death. And so she is in a really scary situation, and she ends up going to, I think, Montana to visit her friend, because she's like, I need help, like I need somewhere to stay and kind of hide out. And so her friend is like, well, you can stay, I know this guy who can help you. And so that guy is the hero, and he puts her up in the Outpost, which is this old hunting cabin in the woods, but it's also a safe place, a safe house for her to be and kind of live in for a couple of months to kind of get the attention off of her and away from this dangerous situation. And so every week he comes to the cabin with like food, and they kind of hang out, and they start forming a friendship, which blossoms into a romance. It is so good. I love like the high stakes of her, you know, trying to like stay safe and not get found out by like the mafia, and just him kind of slowly falling for her. It's just super cute. If you want like a unique suspensey small town romance, I would pick this one up. And I have A Photo Finish by Elsie Silver. This is one of my favorites from Elsie. I really enjoyed this one. So our hero and heroine, they met years ago and just obviously don't like each other. And so they end up having, in the present time, to work together on like the ranch. And I think she is a jockey and he's just like working at the ranch. And she ends up needing somewhere to stay, and he begrudgingly lets her stay with him. And so they have this like forced proximity, hate to love, angsty tension, and it is so good. You're like dying for them to get together. And it's also kind of an epistolary romance because she and him have been messaging each other for years and years, but they don't know it's the other person. And so there's that element of this one as well. And I just love a good like cowboy romance. And this one is so perfect. It is so good. I love like the angsty tension of them staying together, and lines are getting blurred, and it is just such a great romance. Like, definitely go pick up this series if you haven't yet, because it is chef's kiss amazing. It is so good. And you know, I had to include a Catherine Cowles book on this list. So our heroine, she is running from her past, and she decides to settle down in Sparrow Falls, and she is kind of starting up a new life. She has a whole new identity, and she's just trying to, you know, stay on the down low. And she ends up getting this leak in her house, and the hero, he is a carpenter, but also like not maintenance person, like he works with like building houses and kind of know like a trades guy. And so he ends up like seeing that, and it's like, oh, I can help you. And she's like, no, I can figure it out on my own. And from her past, she just is very uncomfortable around men and anyone new coming into her personal space. And so they kind of have to work through that together. And he is also her best friend's brother, and they end up kind of forming a friendship while he is fixing this leak and helping around like her house. And it is just so good. It's very slow burn, and just such a beautiful romance of somebody finally trusting people again in her life after being hurt so many times. And it is just such a beautiful, beautiful romance. I really love this one. I love how patient the hero is, and they have these like really cute porch date nights where they'll try like different food and have these little dates, and it is so adorable. Of course, it has the found family aspect that Catherine is known for, and there's some hilarious moments with Lolly, which is the grandmother of this whole family, and she's so funny. And of course, the suspense element, which is her past coming back into the future. And so I love Catherine's romances. This one's so good. I love that they had this like forced proximity tension. even though it was slow burn, like they were around each other all the time and they were catching feelings. It is just so good. Then I have Riven Knight by Devney Perry. I recently just finished this on audio and I really enjoyed it. This is a fun arranged marriage motorcycle romance. So our heroine, I don't really know how much I can say because this is a series and I actually did not read, this is the second book. I did not read the first book, so I don't know if this is like a spoiler, but something happens where the hero and heroine have to get married because he kind of saved her in a really dangerous situation. And so she is kind of marrying him to save give him immunity from what happened. And so she is also dealing with a lot because her mother was recently murdered, and it kind of has something to do with the motorcycle club, and she's just dealing with a lot of emotions. So they end up having to move in together and kind of be in this fake marriage and really play it up for the people around them. And I just really love how it was kind of like a slow progression of their romance, like being around each other all the time. And they both really opened up to each other about their past. Like he has kind of a traumatic past and she does when she is working through her grief. And I just really enjoyed this one. It's a really solid motorcycle romance. There's a lot of suspense with the motorcycle aspect, dealing with, you know, what happened with them and why they had to get married, but also what happened with her mom and like figuring out this mystery with her mom. And it was really, really good. I highly recommend this one. It was so much fun. It was fast paced. I really enjoyed listening to this audio and I'm excited to read the rest of the series. And I love like the forced proximity aspect of them. I just love the aspect with forced proximity of how, you know, they have to be in the same bed and or like he would sleep on the couch and she'd, you know, over the progression of the book, she would be like, oh, well, why don't you lay with me? Like, you know, the couch is so uncomfortable and stuff like that. Like, I just love that. So this one was really, really good. I highly recommend you should pick it up. The last romance I want to talk about is Play Along by Liz Tom Ford. This is a got married in Vegas romance, baseball romance, kind of friends to lovers, lots of hilarious banter. So our hero and heroine, this is kind of a workplace romance as well. She is a physical therapist for his baseball team, and he is obviously a player on the team, and they've always kind of had this tension between them. He has always been very forward with her, that he really likes her, and and she has just been kind of like, no, like I can't cross that line. And so they have a fun night out in Vegas and they end up getting married. And so they have to play into this marriage and really play it up for the people around them. I don't really remember why they have to stay married, but I think it's for a reason, but I just can't remember what that reason is. But they end up having to live in the same house and learn more about each other. And they have this really great banter. And this one is just it's like a slow burn romance. It's very sweet. If you really love like that forced proximity aspect of them, you know, having to live together but also work together. And this one is just so sweet. I really love the hero. He is such a golden retriever hero. Just so sweet and so just like smitten and obsessed with the heroine. So this one is so cute. I love this series. Liz Tom Ford can do no wrong in my eyes. I love this romance. It is so, so good. Right, well, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing me chat about all of the forced proximity romances that I've been reading lately. I just love this trope. It's one of my favorites. It brings so much tension and angst to a romance. It is just so, so good. Definitely down below, let me know if we align on any of our favorites or if you have any recommendations for me, because I would love to know. And I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.
I was never the one to write up a song for just anyone. I was always the one to find myself lost in long conversations, oh, 'cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you